with Neebs, and I'm here, my co-host Jet, aka DJ. The strike is over.
The strike is over.
Well, one of the strikes is over.
One, yeah. I was actually
One.
expecting something to do with my emo haircut right now, just because I haven't made my hair
Oh
in
man,
years.
your hair does look emo. You were about to sing like "Tonight's the night that I would fall for you over
Over
again."
again. Yeah, I
That's what that
know.
looks like. Oh man, listen, we weren't even going to do an episode today because we were like, we were feeling lazy. I just came back from Chicago. I'm not Chicago, Arizona. I was feeling sick, and Jazz had all this other stuff. He had to like take care of the show and everything while I was away. So we weren't even going to do it. We were going to be lazy and not do an episode today. And then we just got word that the WGA strike is over. And we just quickly shot a message to some of our friends who were affected by the strike. And we were like, hey, do you guys want to come on and do a podcast real quick? So this is probably the most impromptu podcast we have ever had on the show. And I want to introduce you first. Let's start with Salma. Salma, how are you doing?
I'm good. I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Salma and I'm part of SAG, so I'm still on strike.
Boo, boo, you're still in strike.
No,
That's
no, no,
like,
no. We support that. It's a good thing.
no,
Boo to the
boo,
studios for
we're
not.
booing the fact that the strike is still going on.
Yes, but
Yeah.
it's not about us. It's about the WGA. So that's what's important.
Yeah, this is why we got our buddy Alize on. Alize, welcome.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Sorry we woke you up from your nap, but it was big news. We had to wake you up.
No, I appreciate it. It was worth waking me up.
That's awesome. Jazz, tell us about what this means.
Okay, so I am reading through like 50 news articles. As of right now, we don't know what the actual terms are with their new contract, but what we do know is the WGA union reps have reached an agreement with the AMPTP. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I really don't know any about this, but yeah, that they have reached an agreement for the WGA, the writers, and it's substantial enough to where I'm seeing things where some are saying, they've gotten almost all of their demands, and then
Wow.
I'm seeing some say that, we don't know what the exact verbiage is, so we should wait until Tuesday or so when they're going to vote on it. But if rumors are to be believed, this is going to be one of the most successful strikes in modern history, and this is a very exciting time for union membership. So let's jump right into it.
That's awesome. Alize, like that's got to be some amazing news for you, right?
Yeah, no, it's a relief. Like I graduated from producing school back in June. So this strike has been happening since like before then. I'm an aspiring writer and all that, so I think it just was kind of horrible timing, to be honest, personally.
Yeah.
So yeah, just I feel like we've just been waiting and waiting. And yeah, I'm genuinely shocked. I had no idea that today would be the day. I feel like we've been hearing things here and there, but we really had no idea when the actual end would be. And I don't know. I was like, I don't trust anything. It's probably going to keep going and going. But I'm really happy that finally they were able to settle it and people will be able to get back to work and things. So.
Yeah, so this strike started May 2nd.
Wow.
And
140 days.
Yeah, 140 some odd days. And I want to say in August, talks essentially just stopped. The studios were not coming to the table. Nothing was happening. And it was just this Wednesday, September 20th, that they came back to the table. And within, 4-ish days, 5 days, we now have a deal. So
Wow.
this is just to show that once studios start losing enough money, right, they will come to the table, they will negotiate. And this is wonderful news for union workers everywhere, whether it's WGA, whether it's SAG-AFTRA, or, the new strike against the UAW in Michigan against the auto workers. So stay strong, everybody.
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember when I first heard about the strike, there was news that the studios were just gonna wait it out and try to make it so that people miss their mortgages and lose their houses. They were just gonna wait them out. And I think luckily a lot of people donated, like The Rock and so many other celebrities. And I feel like it kept people going. So, they were able to hang in there. And it's good that they did because, anyone who's going to be a writer in the future, It's going to protect them. It's going to protect people's livelihood, residuals. Heard so many stories about people who written shows and they weren't getting pennies for number one shows like Orange is the New Black and Stranger Things, and like
I just got my
the money.
residual in what is it, in June for flight attendant. It was 20
Yes,
cents.
23 cents.
What?
That's insane.
20 cents?
I don't know what offends me more, the fact that the postage stamp on it costs more. I truly believe that I'm going to go to the bank and be like, hi, just need a deposit of 23 cents to my bank account. No biggie. But
that's
I'm
crazy.
going to frame it. And honestly, it's when you said that everything was at a standstill in August, I realized that was right after they made that comment about like, we'll wait till they lose their homes and their mortgages. And there's two podcasts that I hope everyone can go back and listen to, but one of them is from Deadline. It's like about the strikes, and they were talking about how, I'm here, like writers, you guys have a lot of benefits that actors don't get. Like you do get to have like automatic health care and pension and all that. Whereas like for SAG, there's like stipulations and whatnot. But the podcast host for Deadlines was like saying like, this came because of writers I'll never meet who went on strike years before. So I hope that we're striking for now, we'll never meet those writers in the future, but that's, this is for them. And if this deal is extraordinary, as like my friends were saying also, I like have so much hope for like, not only for SAG, but for like the future of what Hollywood's about to become,
So that brings up a very interesting question. What does this mean for the SAG after strike? Because I'm hearing two things. One, it could be amazing for SAG AFTRA, or I'm hearing that because of whatever concessions WGA gave, that SAG may have to walk lockstep with that because that's what studios want to see as well. So what are your comments on that?
This is like where I'm like a little scared being SAG, just because like, it's like, hey guys, don't forget about us. Like we're now, we're now the only ones out there, like before it was the two of us together. And I'm not saying like our stipulations are like our needs are more, but it's kind of like now it's like a real test to see if Hollywood, like what Hollywood really thinks about actors. Like if you really do see us disposable, or if you really do value, cultivating us as artists. And because, like the major part is obviously residuals, but again, like AI, and that's a really scary, thing to when you really think about it, because I mean, I would like to think like, when it came to writers, I was like, but a computer can't write emotions, it can't write subtext, it can't write like, there's human organic things that just humans can understand. Like no algorithm, no like form of AI is ever going to understand like heartbreak like we do, like humans do. But with actors, it's like, I want to say the same thing too. Like, for me, it's like, what I've been taught is like, oh, you can read it in their eyes, you can read it in their eyes. And how can AI imitate that? You know what I mean? Like, okay, for example, the scene I always use is Bruce Lee in is it Return of the Dragon? It's the one where he kills his sister's killer, okay? And as soon as he kills him, there's a flash that goes in his head of like, first he goes from proud that he killed his sister's killer, but then it's like a sadness, like him realizing like he's still never going to get her back. Can AI really capture that? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I couldn't, like, that's my thing. And so like, for people to be like, oh, in the future, like you can be the AI, it's like, okay, but is that like going to capture the story the way it needs to be told? You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. I feel like an actor being like, look at us, guys, look at us.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I feel like there's a lot of things that, AI will replace and people won't realize what they're missing until they actually watch and go back and watch movies and they're like, they don't make them like that anymore, right? That's something that they do. Like even now I'm watching Mission Impossible and I'm seeing all these stunts and I'm like, yo, they don't make stunts like these anymore. They're all CGI now, right?
Yeah.
And that's an example of computer generated images being used to make life easier, but it also taking away the the emotion from the scene, because that's not really a person there. They're
Yeah.
just in front of a green screen.
And you're sitting, it kind of distracts because then you're sitting there and be like, oh, how'd they do that, when you're like not invested in the story anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Somebody in the comments says maybe AI can get to that level in 30 years from now. But do we want that? Do we want that? There is an element in human nature that you can't predict. Like, somebody can do a scene in a way that nobody would expect, right? Because maybe they had a hard day and they were like, you know what, I'm gonna bring something different to the scene, or they're gonna improv something and say a line that one of their buddies said the other day, and they're gonna put it in this movie. Like, you can't do that
No,
if AI.
I'm just thinking, like, there are so many scenes where it was like the actor improved it and the director realized in that second, like, oh, that was actually better than what we had planned, And that's what for Eliza, you can say this too with writing. There's just like a lot of magic that comes from trial and error that AI just, is supposed to be perfect out the gate, like kind of need that organic, like, does this work? Does this stick? Does it not? That involvement.
Yeah, I think it's kind of impossible to replace like the human connection. Like, I feel like we talk about like metaverse and all this stuff that's like up and coming right now that I'm sure like in our lifetimes we'll see it develop, and it will be really cool and like have its own thing. But I think there's like a specific kind of charm that we might lose, as you're saying. But I think at the end of the day, it is inevitable that AI will have its role in the industry, and I feel like film will go into a new landscape and things will change drastically. But it's like, even though that will happen inevitably, like, people need to be compensated fairly still, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the really important thing that they're not quite doing yet, but like I'm hoping that we will see that change and like set that stage for like the future people. So
yeah,
I think it's ironic.
scary.
I was gonna say, I think it's ironic that Netflix had an entire episode on Black Mirror on the harms of AI, and then decided to push for it anyways against the writers and actors.
But that's the thing, is like, you guys, the writers have written about this for decades now. Like, we kind of know this is inevitable. Like, why are you doing this?
That's so funny. That's hilarious.
Gotta love the studios. Well, aside from this, is there anything else y'all want to add? Because again, I'm just really happy for the WGA members right now. I'm so hyped for them. Eliza, you got anything with that, or?
I mean, just manifest that I get a job.
Yo, if you're listening to this, hire Eliza.
Yeah, no, seriously. No. Anyone who's, out here and been striking, like, I hope that, this pays off and that we see like amazing content coming up. I feel like so many projects have been backed up. So I feel like we should all get excited about the upcoming shows, movies, everything. Like,
yeah,
and, even into the future, like what's to come. So
no, studios were savage. I remember hearing about how the studios were cutting trees so the strikers don't have shade. That's insane. That's super villain shit.
Yeah, I actually picketed at that studio. It's insanely like hard to walk around. The day I went was around the time SAG had joined the strike, and they were like, oh, a lot of the SAG people, I don't know if they were like not allowed to come, or there was just like some rules where it was like, this is not a safe place. Like, it was like, traffic is coming, everything's blocked, there's a bunch of construction that people also said that they started kind of on purpose.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, quite an experience. Really interesting to see people like it was like around Universal. People are like going into the theme park to like have fun, and then you're like out there with a sign, and yeah, so
that's crazy. And Drew Barrymore, all she had to do was wait an extra week, man, and she could have avoided all that drama. Like, she got so much shit.
I think they kind of pushed it. I was gonna say, Eliza, yeah, we actually got the email from SAG that not to picket it, that what was going on, and that it wasn't safe, like you were saying. And were you there before or after they cut the trees?
I was there after. I remember there was like absolutely no shade there.
Worst part was like the arborists of the area were like, the way that they cut it actually harmed the trees. Like, there's an actual way to cut them. So it was obvious, like Universal was like, we didn't, I mean, like the park was like, we didn't do it. Or excuse me, the city was like, we didn't do this. Like, we didn't ask for this.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
don't worry, Elise, because now that you guys are back on, like things are about to be fast forward. Like everybody wants to make, like they lost billions literally, in these 5 months. Like everyone's going to be go, go, go. You are going to be snatched up. Don't worry. Like trust and believe. You got this.
Manifest.
Especially
Yes.
fresh from school, like get out of here. They want you more than like all the oldies.
Thank you so much. I'm excited.
That's true. That's true. Hopefully, the acceleration of this will make it faster for the SAG people too. I really hope so. There's a lot of things that I think they said that was in line with what SAG wanted and also what the WGA wanted. So I think a lot of it, in terms of like residuals and I think they're going to be pretty good concessions for them. So hopefully that works out for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you guys got everything, then I have high hopes for us. And I'm going to be honest, before today, I was like, maybe we are asking too much, or we have to compromise something. But like,
no.
you can't, but that's what strikes do. Like they aren't supposed to be easy. They are supposed to wear you down. And, sometimes it is at the benefit for the majority of that during that strike duration for those who are in power, and that's the point. And like, the one thing that I would tell my friends who are also striking, like, I mean, because there was like a depression, like I really did get depressed. Like it really was really bad.
Yeah.
Where I told my friends, like, sometimes I have to rationalize it and be like, okay, 100 years ago, as an American woman, I would not be able to do this. As a woman of color, get out of here. And then when I go like, okay, where would my parents or my grandparents be in India? My grandfather for sure would not have been able to picket against his boss during Independence Day India. You know what I mean? So like, in a sense, like we are doing our ancestors' wildest dream, just also like to be patriotic about it. It's like our American right, and what other country allows you to go up against your boss, who's a corporation that literally runs everything, that they could have said no, and they really could have starved all of us out, so it's kind of like a special time. And God bless, like we'll be able to tell this to our children in the future, like it was really tough, but like we get to live this life now, so
That's true. That's true. And I remember the last time the strike happened, there was an influx of crappy reality TV shows because they weren't part of the strike. And I was like, no, not again.
and the golden age of reality TV,
It was. It definitely was.
But
So,
the
I
theory
don't.
is this strike will now, things will turn into more sci-fi, like we'll be more into science fiction because of like the whole investment in AI. Because like we know it's inevitable. Our lives will be run by AI.
Sure.
It's just how much are we allowing it?
Exactly. And how much we're getting compensated for it, right? Like if they're using your image for like
Ever?
forever, like you should be compensated for it. There's no way that that's just free. Like this face, it comes with the
Yeah.
price.
I say about the AI thing, like 10 years ago, I was really young and it was one of my first big jobs, but I booked like a video game. It was like for the slot machines, and they did like a 360 CGI thing.
Yeah.
And I was paid 500, but at the time I was like, oh my God, it's so much.
Yeah.
But I told my friends, I was like, I'm scared of those images. And they're like, listen, you forget that technology gets better. So like for all the people who've done it before, like, don't worry, the pixels are too big.
Yeah. That's true.
So maybe, like if that's the case, like maybe our stuff, if we ever get AI photographed, it's like, don't worry, in the future it'll be old technology.
But I do think like right now, like people look down on using AI when someone has died and they don't get permission to use it. Like I think who was it? I think the Flash movie had used AI of certain actors. I think Christopher Reeves or somebody, and they didn't get permission because they own it, and they got a lot of shit for it.
And that's why SAG is striking. That's
Yeah.
literally why we're striking, because it is, so many of, especially like the higher you get in the tier of like of being an actor, it's like how much of your image, are you allowed to, like have control of? Like think about like paparazzi shots and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that cannot easily, you can like someone can use that for AI, but like what if it's like a version of you don't want out there, you know? So I don't know. It's like going back to the human element of everything. Like, it's kind of like when you see these holograms of all these, like, of Tupac and stuff, like, it's great, but it's not them. And I feel like also, to go, like, not to get like esoteric about it, but I feel like the human brain sees that, and it's like we can't, it's like a danger, you know, like how our brain has like some subconscious like triggers that are like you don't run into darkness because you're like, because we've been like conditioned from like caveman time to know that like in darkness there could be danger, you know, that sort of thing. So like I feel like the human eye won't like want to register AI, like we'll always be uncomfortable with it, if that makes.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And like the people who I see using this the most are going to be like the Marvels and the DC with their
Yeah.
superheroes and all that stuff. But they're already using so much AI in what they're doing. AI should be making our lives easier, but it shouldn't be replacing people. Like it's
Correct.
that's what it should be doing.
Because like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, why do we live life, you know? Like, there's, you know, when people like explain like what's like so great about life, it's it's like the human experience, you know? Like, can a computer, can an algorithm really understand that?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. We'll see. You know, until Skynet takes over and starts killing all of us, and we're in the Matrix, then we'll know that AI is the true enemy. But until now, we'll see where it goes.
Good times, good times. Selma, it's funny you mentioned that thing that humans do when we see AI, we have a reaction to it. That's
Yeah.
called the uncanny valley effect. It's
Yes.
an actual thing. So it's really
Well, it's
fascinating. If anybody wants to look into it.
I mean, I know that, and then there's also like when we switched over from film to digital, like something changed in our brain chemistry, because I guess we were so used to like, I mean, you can't see it with the human eye, but with film, like each picture that goes by, there's like a black space that happens, and it's faster than like we can register, right? But when digital happened, that space got removed, and it was almost like, I don't know, like it does something to the human brain to catch up a second. If that, I don't know, maybe I sound crazy,
No, I
but
know what you mean.
like the technology kind of changed so quickly, and that's why I feel like elder millennials, like we're just like kind of like in this suspended like place, because we remember what our childhood was like before social media, before like technology, and like showing it to the whole world was like so close to us, you know. And then like, you know, when middle school came and everyone's like online already, and like, yeah, I don't know, I feel like we're like right where technology jumped, you know. And it's like we're still adjusting, whereas like Gen Z was dropped right into it, so they're like they're like the new AI babies. They're the high AI hybrid babies, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Hold
maybe
up, hold up, hold up.
just like a computer
Gen
chip.
Z, what do you have to say about it?
So I feel like I'm a younger millennial slash like older Gen Z. So I don't know, but I think it's like this. We do have this unique experience of like, you know, we had the technology like in the beginning of our lives, and then like suddenly like everything went to smartphones when I was like middle school, high school. So, and even that change is like was like big. You know what I mean? And now it's like weird to see it. Like, I don't know, I think I like resonate with the millennials a lot, because it is like, oh my gosh, this is so weird how fast things are just changing and
Yeah.
changing and changing, and you're like holding on for life or something, you know what I mean, to like something familiar. Like, yeah, it's like scary sometimes looking forward, but I think it's also exciting, like to see
Yeah.
what will happen and how things will like you know, change over time, and we get to look back on it, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I do want to go to some comments. Some of these are really cool. Someone brought up, you know how we get robocalls during elections to go out and vote? What if we get some robocall, but they're from our favorite actors to get us to stay on the line longer and hear what's being pitched? That would be so wild.
Hold
Yes.
up.
Leonardo DiCaprio, call me. I'll listen to anything.
Hold up. What if they don't know they're being used for this?
Okay.
Right? And they don't even agree with the politics?
Right.
That's
No, that's
crazy.
scary.
As someone who works in politics, like this is fascinating to think about. So
Like, imagine like buying the rights to Natalie Portman's voice without her consent, and then she's like promoting like a war in like Uganda. Like, that'd be wild.
That's
Oh my
again,
God.
that's why SAG is striking. It's like, why are you using my voice? Why are you using my face? Why are you using my body? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Damn.
think
Stay strong.
when you combine AI with politics, it actually starts getting kind of scary because I'm like, if people can impersonate someone, they could impersonate like an important world leader. Like, it could spin out of control real fast.
It's like the
Well,
But
that's happened.
scrolls.
It happened in Turkey. No,
see,
really, in
yeah,
Turkey, one of the presidential candidates had to drop out because there was a deepfake of a video of him doing something incredibly bad. And when that video got out, people believed it was him doing it, but it wasn't him. It was a complete deepfake, and he dropped out of the
Wow.
election. It's a
That's-
thing.
that's scary.
Well, again, like that's scary too, because like I've heard like also like what's to stop anyone from like the regular person, like forget actors or politicians, like for someone putting your face onto like porn and being like, look at her, look at them, you know, and it's like, that's not me, but it's like AI, but you have no idea, you know, and I hope that people can see this isn't just like actors being like, please don't use my face, even though I want to be an actor, I want to be seen. It's like, you know, this fight is really for everybody, like to protect their own image. Like you should have consent in how your face is being presented to the world. Like it is
Yeah.
scary. Really think about it. Like if their presidential nominees being like having to drop out over something that's absolutely fake, it's not them at all. Like they have the receipts to show where they were.
Oh no, she dropped out.
She dropped out. You know what I was thinking about while she was saying that? Like I would get like a Islamic scholar and be like, is it halal to use deepfakes? Because I kind of feel like there's like a weird line there. Like it's a form of like deception. I don't know.
It is.
It's
I could
kind of
see that
weird.
not being okay. Yeah. I don't know. That's an interesting question.
Someone said AI
No.
got her. That's what they came
He
after her.
He said too
She
much.
She said
too
too much and AI took her down.
Right in the comments.
Oh,
Nice.
that's so funny. That's so funny. Malia has some comments here too. She says, I think real human art will always prevail because we aren't just watching for the final movie, but because of the artist. The appeal of the stories includes the storyteller. Yeah, definitely agree with that. That is very, very true.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there's so many stories that have not been told yet. Like especially as like Muslim and like
yeah,
South
they're
Asian
just
people.
starting to tell our
Yeah.
stories, right? It's
We
crazy.
just got here. Like let us speak for a little bit, you know, before you try to replace us with like AI.
That may be good though, right? Because think about it. AI grabs all this stuff from the internet and like all of these like stories. There's not a lot of our stories out there. So our stories may be immune from AI for a while. This may be our chance to get in there and be like, yo, let's put our our content out there because you guys don't know our stories.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Selma.
Sorry. Oh my God. My phone died. Now you guys have to see my actress little studio apartment. Sorry, guys.
We thought AI got you. That's what we thought of it. They were like, she said too much and they took her out.
Oh my God. Listen, that's what we're fighting for. But yeah, I mean, just to finish up, it's like, yes, protect your image. You never know where it could go. And like, what, like in the future, like, again, like, you never know if you're going to run for office. And then all of a sudden, like, I saw a video today of like supposedly the Ukraine president Zelensky was like doing a dance, and then Twitter had like this is the only time my dad name anything X is that it was like a Brazilian dancer, you know? And like I also retweeted, I was like, okay, but even if it was Zelensky, why would it matter if he's dancing like this? Like, who cares?
Correct. Let the man live.
But the thing is, like we talked about it earlier, like when AI gets into politics, like people believe memes like so fast. Like some idiot in his basement puts up a meme about Joe Biden and half the world believes it. Imagine using AI on top of that. How many more people will believe it?
Yeah.
Well, I also want to say something scary about AI too, is that I follow a bunch of these like AI artistic sites on Instagram, right? And sometimes I'll be like, oh, look at this movie from Bollywood in the 1970s that was like a sci-fi thriller, and I'll like scroll through it and I'm like, I know Bollywood, why do I not remember, like why have I never seen any of these images? And then it's like in the comments it's like, no guys, this is fake. And that's like what scares me about AI, because it tricks you to like look through your brain for like images for a memory that was never there, you
Mhm.
know? That sounds so Black Mirror too. Like it's like
It's a lot of Black Mirror stuff. God damn. Black Mirror just telling our futures.
Mhm.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, man. Well, we'll probably have you back here when the actors, hopefully, like by the next few days, man. That'll be good. I would love to
well,
start having like guests on and talk about shows and stuff again too. Yeah,
well,
from a
here's the
selfish point
thing.
of view.
What I was gonna say too. So here's the wildest thing: is I work across the street from where the meetings were happening, and I
Yeah.
look. He was like, "I need to know what room it is in, so I can kick door open that door and be like, all right, you guys, go get this shit done." I was like, "You guys just need like a whole room of teenagers to come in and be like, excuse me, I need to make sure this the summer I turn pretty has the season 3 coming." But what I was going to say is that the scary part is, or not the scary part, sorry, not the scary part, the beautiful part is tomorrow is Yom Kippur, which is for the Jewish faith, which is similar to like the day of Ashura for us, where it's like a serious, it's not a holiday, it's really a day of like atonement and like
Hmm.
praying for forgiveness. And I kind of like had faith that like by sunset it would happen, so like some of the members of the studios and the writers would be able to like, you know, practice the holiday in peace, you know. And I was like, I have a feeling by sunset, and sure enough, like literally, I feel like they were like, guys,
It's a Yom
sunset's
Kippur
happening. We got to
miracle.
start this fast. Like, come on, you know? So I don't see SAG going up against this week, like not so immediately, but I do see like towards the end of the week, if not next week, like for sure. But again, I say that, but we could be striking longer now too, you know? And plus,
Yeah.
IATSE, I don't know, IATSE was planning to, what do you call, strike? And so, I don't know, Elise, maybe you know on the writers and anything about what's going on with IATSE.
I feel like they are still so new to this, and like, I don't know. I'm wondering, I kind of expect that there will be a domino effect,
Okay.
kind of the way the strike started, where it was like a domino of like other unions joining. That's my expectation, but I don't know if I'm being overly optimistic. So
Right. I know,
um,
like, I feel like in this moment of like it happening, they're like, and then this will happen, and then this will happen. I was also going to say too, I think the beautiful part about this too is like I never realized being part of SAG, I was part of the Labor Party, and I hope that this is like woken up, like it has in myself, just like Americans, to realize, you know, that laborers do deserve to be compensated for their work. As Americans, no one should be working 40 hours a week and not being able to afford health care
Hmm.
or a home or just even
Food.
just school. Yeah, food, exactly. One of the things, again, if everyone can listen to the Deadline strike talk, like it was really informative. It spoke about how, you know, for a lot of the writers, like some of the jobs that they are fighting for to keep are like paid minimum wage, which I, as an actress, I never knew that writers are paid minimum wage. um so they are hourly workers, and that a lot of them are fighting to keep, like, you know, quote unquote shitty jobs because the job offered healthcare. And I
Hmm.
think, like, as Americans across the board, if we really thought about like actually voting in universal healthcare, how much it would actually free every American of every work background. Cause, like, you know, subconsciously, like we all like think about it, like especially ones like I have Medicare, which God bless, I'm in California and they offer it. But before, when I didn't have health care and I couldn't afford it and I'd come off of my parents, I would, you know, like subconsciously think like, okay, I can't really while out because I can't afford an ambulance ride that costs $700, $900. That's majority of
It's
my, you know,
2000
like
now.
that's majority of my rent. And like, you know, whether people consciously think about it or subconsciously, like it's something to think about, like next time we go to vote, that like maybe we should vote for like universal health care. And I just think as Americans, like we are the richest, best, you know, we're the bullies of the world. And why are we the only ones, you know, that don't have universal health care, when you have like Sweden giving these like literal cute little paper boxes for, you know, welcoming home babies, and all both parents get a whole month off, 3 months for the mom if she wants it, you know. And it's just, I hope that in the future, I hope that these strikes, the WGA strike and the SAG strike, really has like opened Americans' eyes to like what we all deserve, you know. Like, you have CEOs from Australia saying that the employees should be so thankful to work for, like, you work for us, we don't work for you. And it's like, no. And I hope, like, especially after COVID, like, people realize, like, my time and my well-being is more important than, like, your bottom dollar, your bottom line or whatever it is.
It's great that
Very
you mentioned
true.
that because Tuesday was National Voter Registration Day. So if you haven't registered to vote, vote.gov, everybody. Find out where you can vote in your state or where to register in your state. And then see you all at the next election, which I know people say, oh, you vote once every 4 years. No, that's a lie. You're supposed to vote 4 times a year. So remember that.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
And if you're from North Carolina, it's now time to ask for your absentee ballots. They just sent them out.
Oh, you're lucky you have those. I'm in Texas. I can't get those unless I'm 65 plus or have a debilitating medical condition.
Yes, another thing, as an American, if you are able to get absentee ballots, please. And then also, if your parents still live in a swing state, make sure that you keep that address, even if you move to any of the big cities, because your vote counts more than if, like, you vote for the big city that you're in.
Very true. Very true.
Swing those states. Come on, guys. Whichever way, just swing them.
Let's do it. Texas 2026.
All right. Any last thoughts before we wrap it up? That's pretty much all we got for this week. I know there would be more, but this is probably the biggest news we got this week, so that's what we really wanted to talk about.
That's all I got.
Stay strong.
Yeah, keep fighting. I'm
excited to see your stuff. I'm really excited to see what you got.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I can't wait. And Lise, when we do some more Love is Blind, we'll have you back for that. And Salaam, I don't know if you're watching Love is Blind, but we'll
I
get
don't,
you
but
back.
if you do Love Island, I'm always down. And listen, Love Island All Stars and games are coming up, and this is a first for the franchise. So please.
What about FY Island? Do you watch that one?
No, I have enough fuckboys. I live in
My
Los Angeles.
I'm not watching any of these. Screw you guys.
All right. What about Golden Bachelor with the old guy?
I do want to see that because it makes me excited to see older people.
Yeah,
being
find
given
love.
And also his story when he's spoke by his wife dying of cancer. I was like, oh my God, yes, that's fun.
It's so sad. It's so sad. All right. Well, we'll have you on for some of those episodes. Thank you guys for joining us. And until next time, guys, Salaam nerds.
Bye.